It started like a normal day. I let my dog out into the yard while I made coffee. The fence was closed. The gate was locked. I glanced out the window like I always did, and he was there, sniffing near the trees. I stepped away for maybe 5 minutes. When I looked again, he was gone. Just gone. I searched the entire yard. I walked the fence line. No holes. No disturbed earth. No panels knocked loose. The gate hadn't moved. He never tried to escape. He was the kind of dog that stuck to me like a shadow. If I called his name, he'd come running every time. That morning, I called again and again. Nothing. The woods behind the house stretch a while before meeting the edge of another neighborhood. I walked out there for hours, called, listened, waited. I didn't hear a single bark, no snapping twigs, not even birdsong, just the quiet kind of stillness that starts to feel too perfect. By nightfall, I was back inside, exhausted. I left the back door slightly open in case he came home. I sat on the floor beside it for hours. Around 3 a.m., the motion light on the deck switched on. I stood up fast, looked out. He was sitting there, same position he always took when he wanted back inside. Legs tucked, head up, staring through the glass. I ran to the door and opened it, but something stopped me. He didn't move. No tail wag, no ear twitch, just staring. I stepped aside. He came in, walked to the rug in the living room, and sat again. His movements looked right. Same weight, same pacing. But I kept watching because something didn't feel real. He didn't respond when I said his name. Didn't tilt his head. Didn't blink. Just stared ahead like he was waiting for a signal I didn't understand. I crouched nearby and just watched. Normally, he would have come closer, pressed against my legs, laid his head down near my foot, but he didn't. He didn't shift once, not even to adjust his weight. I turned away for a second to grab a blanket. When I looked back, he was facing the back door again, perfectly still. Then he scratched it once. I let him out. He walked to the middle of the yard and stood there, not sniffing, not walking in circles, just standing. His head turned slightly toward the trees. He stayed like that until dawn. When I went out after sunrise, he was gone again. That became the pattern. The next night, same thing. Around 3 a.m., he appeared at the door, sitting, staring. No tail wag, no bark. I opened the door, and he walked in exactly like before. That time, I tried giving him food, his favorite treat. I dropped one on the floor near him. He didn't move. His eyes followed me, but his body never adjusted. No sniff, no tilt, just perfectly still tracking. That night, when I turned my back again, he disappeared. The back door was shut. No sound, no click, just gone. I set up a motion-activated camera near the back deck. I aimed it toward the yard. That night, I waited in my bedroom, watching the camera feed from my phone. At 3:08 a.m., the light clicked on. The figure was there. Same shape, same size, sitting still. But on the camera, something looked wrong with the limbs. Too long in places. The tail looked off. The edges of the body seemed soft, like they didn't hold form for long. I blinked, and it was gone. Just like that. The camera feed turned to static for 3 full minutes. I played the footage back the next morning, and the entire clip was gone. Deleted. I hadn't touched anything. That's when I started locking the doors. But it didn't stop coming. Every night, like clockwork, I'd hear the step on the deck. One click of claw against wood. I'd look, and there it was, staring through the glass. Still. Silent. I started noticing more things. The prints it left in the grass didn't match my dog's. The spacing was wider. The claws dug too deep. Sometimes, the pattern shifted, like it didn't know which paw to use next. And its shadow moved wrong. One night, I left a bowl of water outside. Normal for him. He always drank first before coming inside. I watched from the darkened hallway. It never touched the water. It just stood there. Then, without sound, it turned its head all the way around. Not slowly, not violently, just in one motion, turning its head toward the window even though its body never shifted. That's when I started keeping the curtains closed. But I still knew when it was out there. The motion light would come on. The temperature in the room would drop. I'd feel it standing on the other side of the glass. Once, I swear it tapped the door 3 times. Not a scratch. Not a paw. A knock. It stopped waiting on the deck. It started standing by the tree line instead, just inside the edge of the woods. Not walking, not sniffing, just watching the house. Some nights I wouldn't see it directly, but I'd feel it there. The motion light wouldn't catch it anymore, but the air would change, a thick pressure that rolled across the yard like fog. One night, I made the mistake of blinking with the curtain open. When my eyes opened again, it was closer. Same shape, same tilt of the head, but the body seemed taller, the front legs too stiff, the mouth slightly open, not panting, just hanging open like it was trying to remember how to breathe. I left the house the next day, stayed with a friend 2 towns over. Didn't say much, just said I needed space. I left the food bowl upside down, unplugged the motion light, locked every door, and didn't look back. I stayed away for 3 nights. Each night, I dreamed I was sitting in my living room, and he was beside me. But it wasn't him. The shape was too rigid, the eyes too wide. I'd try to move, but I couldn't. I'd sit frozen while it leaned in closer, breath warm and still, and I'd hear a sound behind its teeth like nails tapping wood. When I came back home, the house was still locked, but the bowl was right side up, clean, and placed perfectly in the center of the kitchen floor. I didn't bring it in. The next night, I heard it inside. It wasn't footsteps, it was slower, like something dragging its weight down the hall. I held my breath, pressed my back to the closet wall, and listened. It passed my bedroom door once, then again, then silence. I stayed in the closet until morning. The hallway was empty when I came out, but the front door was cracked open. No signs of a break-in, no marks, nothing stolen. That's when I started noticing the sound, a soft scraping under the floor. At first, I thought it was mice. Maybe some animal had gotten in, but the sound was too measured, like a nail being drawn across wood, slowly, rhythmically. It only happened between 3 o'clock and 3:30 a.m. One night, I followed it with my ear to the ground. The noise moved room to room, always staying just ahead. I crawled behind it for over 20 minutes. Then it stopped, and something whispered behind the wall. It didn't speak. It just made a sound I recognized, the sound my dog made when he stretched after waking up. But it was too loud, like something was pressing its mouth to the inside of the drywall. I stayed still, waiting, and then the sound repeated, like it was waiting for a reply. After that, the shape started showing up inside again. Not walking around, just standing in the hallway. I'd wake up and see it in the mirror, behind me, still, watching. I'd turn, and the hall would be empty. But the mirror would still show the shape for a few seconds longer. It never attacked. It never moved too fast. That was the worst part. It was patient. It was rehearsing, mimicking, waiting. One night, I woke up to breathing inches from my face. I didn't open my eyes. I just listened. It wasn't heavy or loud. It was steady. A slow, careful inhale and exhale. Not from a person, not from an animal, from something trying to understand how breathing worked. And it was standing at the edge of the bed. When I opened my eyes, nothing was there. But the blanket had been pulled tight across my legs. The next day, I took my dog's collar out of the drawer, where I had kept it since he disappeared. It was dusty. The name tag was scratched. That night, the shape returned. This time, it was wearing the collar, but it was too tight, cutting into the skin. The tag was turned the wrong way. It sat by the back door again, staring in. I didn't move. It stood, slowly, and walked the length of the yard, then stopped, and looked back. The collar fell off, but the sound of the tag scraping the wood repeated every night after, even when there was no wind, even when there was no door open. I haven't seen it in 2 nights now, but I found prints outside the front porch this morning. Not paws. Feet. Human feet. Bare. Too long. With deep claw marks at the tips of the toes. And beside them, scratched into the wood with something sharp, was my dog's name.